The galactic standard for civilization is an orderly and well-developed hive mind, ruling over an empire of disposable drones. There is no individuality, though the hive minds do have some kind of personality. The hive minds should, in theory, be opposed to one another, should fight amongst themselves for resources and space necessary for growth. But in practice, the hive minds do appreciate being able to share experiences with other like-minded, multi-bodied minds. There is a sense in the galaxy of order, of unity, of peace, that the various hive minds can solve almost every problem, and usually they can. To combat the inevitable lack of resources involved with interstellar empires and the inevitable march of entropy, they're making a large, cohesive effort into unlocking multidimensional travel. To ensure the lack of viral cross-contamination, a singular and very efficient hive mind with a drive for experimentation is constantly developing new vaccines, antibodies, and medical procedures to ensure galactic hive health, with the full collaboration of every other mind. To combat unnecessary mutations and spawned hive minds, they're vigilant in purifying unauthorized colonial efforts by rogue entities. Of course, that last one is responsible for us. In an attempt to pacify what was perceived to be a rogue ecosystem, the galactic hive minds attempted a full sterilization process of the planet Earth. In this case, glassing it from orbit, which is pretty standard as far as that manner of procedure go. But humanity is tough, and what they thought was an insane hive mind, dangerous and unbalanced, was actually the first and so far only species of individuals. They did succeed in destroying Earth, but in deep bunkers, hiding aboard their own ships and hidden inside secret bases on the Moon and Mars, we endured. And we've since become the single most dangerous species in the known galaxy. In every hive-minded galactic empire, we're something of a menace, especially because we know how hives operate. While it is different from the behavior seen in traditional insectile hives on Earth, it is similar enough that we could use it. For instance, several species actually used to make their living by infiltrating beehives and simply pretending that they're supposed to be there. The drones, running mostly on automatic work, don't have the capacity to question why humans are there. And since we usually carry around tools or supplies, we must be supposed to be there. Of course, that's just one way how we've managed to sneak by the many hive minds, and they just cannot get us all. Sure, they might take down a single hidden human colony somewhere, but there is a power to our individualism that they cannot truly anticipate. Every single one of us, as we process information, can have an idea. Sometimes it's a really bad idea, massively idiotic idea. But for every 99 dumb, moronic, and absolutely silly ideas that should not work, there is one hell of a banger that does. We're rather chaotic that way, which makes it hard for us to be exterminated in the long run, but also makes it hard for us to effectively get vengeance for Earth. Put together 10 humans, and you'll be able to get at least 3 opposing factions who disagree on the way things should be run. It's in our nature to be like that. Where our counterparts are order itself, we are chaos incarnate. A lot of us are angry about Earth. Others have moved past it. Some are even pretty happy to see the old dying world going out in a blaze of glory. And it was a blaze. We made them bleed for every molecule of our cradle. That's why what is making us the most dangerous species in the galaxy is also what is keeping us from effectively destroying the hive minds once and for all. Besides, it's not like all the hive minds want us dead. Some have found that we can be quite useful to keep around. At least 3 hive minds officially have what we might call a pet colony of humans. Why would they do that? Because, as previously stated, we're good at chaos, at having a sudden mad idea and making it manifest, creating a form of technology or a new discovery that nobody would have done otherwise. The hive minds all have a steady progress on the development of technology, but humans have a tendency to increase their technological capacity in an exponential fashion. Sure, this means that in comparison to the hive minds, it took us ages to get off of our world, but that we went from the Industrial Revolution to space travel way faster than any other species has ever done. So those hive minds keep these humans on specific planets, where they have a deal with their humans. The humans won't interfere in the running of the hive mind excessively, and they'll share any technological advancements with their protector, And should the hive minds be stuck scientifically, they'll just dangle it in front of their humans until the humans have a useful breakthrough. In exchange, they get to live in safety with plentiful resources and reasonable levels of freedom. These domesticated humans are probably way better off than the freer groups of humanity. However, they're shunned by many of the more xenophobic human groups, of which there are many, but considering that aliens destroyed Earth, this is not an unreasonable reaction. And they have to live with the knowledge that on some level, the hive minds that have these deals are acting suspiciously, like humans act towards their cats. The fact that the hive minds have a galactic information network with secret sites sharing cute human pictures does nothing to make this less embarrassing for the domesticated humans, which is awkward socially for the domestics when they're creating machines and technologies for their protectors that have shown promise in the endeavor of breaking apart the walls of reality and opening gateways to other universes, along with various horrible weapons that the hive minds don't want to use, but prefer to have ready, just in case. Of course, this is merely one grouping of humanity, and they're one of the three main groups of the remnants of the human race. Feral humans are mostly the survivors of refugees that hid aboard the hive minds' ships. The domesticated humans are, in comparison, mostly survivors of those nations that had enough ships and off-world sites needed to endure as cohesive groups. Ferals are most often shipbound, and that's how they can become a real danger to the hive-minded races. The hive will suddenly notice that drones are going offline at an alarming rate all over a ship, and with no time to react properly, humans will suddenly swarm out of hiding spots, air vents, and storage compartments, armed to the teeth with primitive chemically propelled guns and sharp objects. And then they'll add another ship to their ramshackle fleets cruising around the galaxy, forever traveling, scared to settle down. This is not to say that they're completely antagonistic to the hive minds. Of course, they are still dangerous, that is a given, but we're willing to trade, deal, or otherwise interact with the various powerful minds. Sometimes we even help them out, if it suits us. Of course, they don't call themselves that. While every domesticated colony of humans have an old Earth name for their people, they call the traveling humans ferals. They call themselves nomads, however, and have returned to mankind's roots in a way, intensely spiritual, with a large clan-based structure to their civilization and a huge variance in size. One group of human nomads might be a large family traveling on a single old ship, or they might be hundreds of thousands of humans traveling in a large fleet. They follow countless gods, both old Earth and newly made, and many old stories have taken on new roles and new meaning, though it changes depending on the fleet in question. On one fleet, they might hold to the ancient ways of the Jedi, and on another, much of the Bible has been replaced with the stories of Narnia. Aboard the temple ship of one of the larger fleets, the 5 holy books and the sacred language of Tolkien are kept in perfect condition, though usually their languages are a melange, a pidgin language made from whatever tongues were spoken by the desperate refugees that were their ancestors. The most common linguistic roots are Finno-Ugric and Cushitic, but features words, phrases, and grammar from all over old Earth. They are the only human group that still fights themselves, precisely because of these new and old divisions. There are rumors in the domesticated colonies of large ship-based battles, leaving thousands of humans dead, at which point they scoff and go back to booby-trapping their colonies in case their protecting hive minds gets annoyed, and incidentally invent another bizarre machine or weapon at the same time for those same protectors to have. Of course, there is a third group. They hate both the domesticated humans and the ferals. They hate the domesticated humans for submitting to the enemy, and they hate the ferals for not fighting hard enough against the enemies of mankind. These are the survivors who hid underneath old Earth, who emerged later and only barely managed to get off the ruined world before it killed them. Domestics are still holding on to culture and civilization as it was. Nomads have syncretized much of the old culture. This group has deified it, made all the achievements of old humanity some kind of holy symbol. These humans are few in number and mad. They call themselves the Restorationists, that they'll rebuild Earth and scourge the galaxy of all non-humans. That's their goal. To most humans, they are a myth, a cautionary element from tales about nomad ships, about going too far, but they are real, and they are indeed responsible for a number of atrocities committed against the hive minds, who, ironically, are turning to the humans in their midst to find out who is responsible. Nomads have been hired with the promise of new ships, and the hive minds who have their own domestics are usually better equipped to fight off any catastrophe, so more and more hive minds are looking for humans willing to become sedentary. Humanity is the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Because of our chaos, we can create stranger and more unnatural weaponry than any thought of by the hive minds. Because of our chaos, we can spread across space unhindered and never go extinct. Because of our chaos, we cannot bloody agree upon anything and keep fighting amongst ourselves, as we will inevitably fight against the restorationists when the time comes. Because they're ultra-militaristic nutcases who see everyone who isn't fighting and hating like they do as traitors to the human race. And they are of the kind of humans who really think that having commissars on the battlefield executing traitors is a good idea. The kind of humans who give humanity a bad name. The kind of humans who believe that inflicting suffering for the greater good is always worth the price. The kind of humans who'd gladly destroy the reality to achieve their narrow-minded goals. This group comprises the single most dangerous members of the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and they must be stopped.